Hey everyone, I'm Moi.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We are two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, we do our own lens, honey, which is, definitely smoky.
Mhm,
Definitely has some vinegar.
mhm,
Definitely,
mhm,
or yeah, maybe like a
mhm,
smoked Gouda.
mhm,
Like
mhm.
definitely there's like notes of like charcoal sometimes or whatever, and like oat. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Hi.
Hello. Okay, so today we're talking 90 Day Last Resort, Season 1, Episode 4. How long do you last? Yeah, that was this episode. And Liz completely was like, this limp dick ass, tired ass, no breath having ass, no neck turning ass fucker doesn't give me what I want, and I prefer to use my vibrator. And I said to myself, wow, sometimes you do have sex with men with smaller than average penises, but you don't get excited at their touch. And if you don't get excited at their touch, you don't need to be in that relationship nor trying to marry that fucker.
I mean, you know, he I feel like he's the type of gross person that's like, get in between those legs and I show him, like what I can do or whatever. But like the fact that he isn't, the fact that she's not going to ever talk about him being a generous oral sex giver is like, listen, that person doesn't deserve to be alive. I don't, this is a Patreon only, but I've always hated Ed. Like I've always hated him. I just never forgive him. This person, again, I just want to remember this person got a fully normal, grown ass, lovely, beautiful, normal sized woman to marry him and then birth him a normal sized daughter. Then he cheats on that woman, breaks up with her, and literally has, like, what we've seen, cast aside his daughter for any piece of like pee that he can possibly get. And I just hate him. And I've always hated him. And he should be on the show. And I hate him.
You're right.
Great.
They're not a 90-day couple. They're both
Nope.
from the United States. They shouldn't be on this show.
Yeah, they're just horrible to watch. But
Nor are they married.
so we start yoga with Jovi. But you said you called Yara Yari and Jovi Jova last
Jova.
time, and it
Hmm.
made me really really happy. I love it when we're supposed to believe that they've set this up where it's like Yara being like, I set up yoga because it's like really good to like breathe and like for us to go through our problems. And it's like, first of all, watching this man do it, you can tell that he's never done it. He doesn't know what he's doing. They're like, the yoga person's like, breathe. Yoga is about love. And it's like, I guess, whatever.
This
This
is
is
his first
resort
time.
yoga. Resort yoga is not yoga.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
God
you're right.
bless.
It's not. It's not. You're right. It's
It's
not.
not at all.
He's like, I'm really glad we did this. And she's like, yeah, you really had something to think about. And he's like, yeah, I think just me and you and Mila and Yara, we're gonna do well together. Thank you for this.
I liked her. Yeah. I was like, I liked her green, two-piece set.
With her over the shoulder
Yeah.
sweater. That didn't wasn't the same color, but it was neutral. She was actually wearing a green, so it's like good for her for stepping out of her comfort zone. And so these two then leave, and they all end up going to some sex class. Now,
I loved it.
the
I love
sex
the
class,
lady. I love
yeah,
everything, right?
yes, I agree with you.
But
That
it's, yeah.
lady, she was trying to do some real good work here, and Ed was just trying to sabotage it. And there was a little bit of a fight between Ed and Jovi. Jovi's like, "You're not as funny. That didn't land as well as you thought it was gonna land. It's not as funny."
Yeah, because Ed goes just quick. This lovely lady who's like, "Hi, I'm a sex positive therapist. We're gonna start doing this thing," and then quickly he raised his hand. She's like, "Yes, you have a question?" He goes, "Yeah. How are or where do babies come from?" Is what he says.
Yeah.
How are babies
Oh,
made, or where do babies come from? And it's like people. There is nothing, no sound comes out. It's literally just the sound of everyone's eyeballs, just like fangirl kicking in their cranium around. Like it's so he's that kind of personality that like would say something like that, and he says like just trying to get a laugh. Like why?
yeah.
And if you want me to listen, this is what you should do. Ed should have a full come to Jesus moment where he's like, this entire time I try and make people laugh because don't you understand that if I don't, I cry. I cried. How horrible I am, and and how I look, and people know that, they look at me, and so I just try so bad to distract them by also being like, "Not, forget about this face. Look at this horrible personality."
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, he does kind of do that later on, but then he makes it seem as though it's because he's a comedian. He's like, yeah, I just try to like tell the jokes and like, keep and I'm like, you're not a comedian though. So stop telling fucking jokes because they're not funny or really even jokes. They're just like stupid things that a high schooler would say in order to get the rest of the class to laugh. This is why I could never be a teacher because I would be like, shut up and then get in trouble by someone's parent. So,
You would have to just find a way to make them feel stupid. Just like, interesting choice. Like you'd have to, I don't know what it'd be.
a sick burn, Chris. That high schooler is gonna feel real stupid after.
You know,
Sick burn, Chris. You
I
would
think
have
that's
to
very
say something.
powerful.
You would have to say something to make them feel stupid, but then also you're an adult trying to teach children. If you're going there just making them feel stupid, like what are you doing?
Okay, how about this? Wait, let me give
Jovi
you a
has a
shot.
scraped knee. Did you see Jovi's scraped knee?
Oh no, but what? Okay, what if a kid went, like raise your hand. You're like, yes. Where do babies come from? And then this
Ask
is
her
what you
mama.
this is
Sorry,
what
go
you
ahead.
did. All you did is just stare at them. And then at one point, you look at everyone else and you're like, and you look back at them, and then long enough, and if you hold it right, that person's got to feel dumb.
You're right. You're right.
Okay, good. That's the move. You just gotta like, and it is the trust in the breath and the silence, and it's
Oh,
hard to
the
do.
breath go. Okay, theater kid, get out of here. The trust and the breath.
You have to trust the breath and the silence.
No.
Yes, you do.
I think that Jovi scraped his knee hanging out with Angela. I
Oh
think he
yeah.
was like having a drunk night with Angela and he fell and scraped his knee. So everybody's like, Kelly's annoyed at Ed. Molly looks fucking bananas. Molly is wearing like pigtails, these crazy ass sunglasses. Then she's
Yes.
wearing this like 2-piece bathing suit or a bra and like a tube top dress. So it's like, please let her have been at the pool for this accident outfit to have happened. Or she got up and was like, I'm gonna wear this bra, but I want to wear a comfortable dress. I'll put this dress over it. I don't know what Kelly's gonna wear. It's just like terrible. The sex positive lady, her name is Reba. Cute, right?
I know. I loved that. Obviously, I mean, give it to me. Yes, I love that Reba. Yeah.
Fancy.
Definitely Molly, like in the sex class, also is wearing like that muted kind of like beige nude
Brown.
look. Yeah, like it's not for her. And if it's going to be for her, it's like that kind of thing. You have to have a full face beat
Mm-hmm.
to have that kind of lip because you can't even use your skin color. You can't have that pay. You can't even get. So it's like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things are not happening. It's actually I stand by.
Mm-hmm.
I think Amali should have as having like a better taste level than Angela. But the
If
truth
she
of the
doesn't.
matter is there is no difference.
Mm-hmm.
There's no the way these women are dressing, it's not night and day, it's day and day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he makes that joke, and then there's some kind of talk about, you're not going to have to give head to a cucumber. You're not going to have to put condoms on things. And Ed
Wait.
comes back
Yes, you're right.
to Jovi and is like, well, that's a shame. Jovi's mouth is big enough to take a cucumber sideways. And well, in some cases that would be mildly funny coming from Ed, who has just the most glassiest of glass homes. You know what I'm saying? Like, just cannot throw a stone.
Yeah.
Cannot throw a stone.
Yeah, like I feel like there's been many women that he's called fat.
Yeah. Yep. And ugly and no necked. He said it. He said it all. Everything just like talking about himself. Just everything talking about himself. And so then next we have a Swelu who is like, I mean, he is in it to win it. Yesterday, his wife told him that he don't give a shit about her orgasm, so he is here today to take notes. And we found out a lot of interesting things about him. One, that he was circumcised at 15. Whoa, yeah. And
Ooh.
then two, that he, in fact, even though he wasn't there, thinks that Ed has a small penis. He's like,
That
some
I
people
love
have big penis, some people have small penis.
I love that that's what you use. Like, I was so interested to be like, oh, what's the second thing? Is we also learned that Asuela like didn't, Asuela like they went through like who had sex ed class. Obviously, Yara and Asuelu was like not us, and yeah, Asuelu, as Wa said, uh, was circumcised at 15, and then they just like go into the ocean where just the salt water makes it so that it doesn't get infected. That is a later on circumcision. But they start going into like very specific sexual things like I didn't think about. Like I forgot if it was Molly or someone was like, does a circumcised penis's ridge make, or maybe Ed says it, like make it more pleasurable for the woman, which I was like, I never thought about that because I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes this is Patreon only, haha. Like there is of course uncircumcised penises, but isn't the whole thing when an uncircumcised penis, and this is what I think, when it's hard, like, well, there's could be maybe some skin still there, I guess. Like anyway, but yeah, I guess you know what? I do like circumcised dicks more. I do feel like I like it more. Anyway.
It's all the same to me. I've had the two bigger lovers that I've had in my life have been uncircumcised, and you just have to like pull it back.
Yeah. So we go into a hardcore into a prostate orgasm. And the one thing I didn't know until this very moment, until she said it, thank you, Reba, was that men can have prostate orgasm after a prostate orgasm. There is no like layoff time. So and this part is like confusing to me because listen, I obviously don't have a dick, but like they get hard, right? And then they're like they get hard, and then like jizz happens, and then and then like they get hard again, and then so if you have a prostate orgasm, are you just like? Are you not getting soft?
I don't think you're getting soft, but don't you? I mean, there's different type of woman in orgasms too.
True.
Right. So if you think about yourself and the different types of orgasms that you've had, like they can have different types too, which is so interesting. And like now, I mean, I have offered to maybe tickle someone's prostate once in my life, and now I'm gonna insist.
Oh, so when you offered, it wasn't taken.
Yeah, the person was like, I don't know that I could do it right now. And I was like, to myself, I was like, oh, is it because you ate a lot? And so maybe like your body, your like digestive system has been moving. And so you're like, don't do that. But not that I'm going to insist. Obviously, I'm not going to insist to penetrate anybody's.
I was like, yeah,
I'm going to be like, I'm going to try at least on the outside to make it happen.
That was also the thing I learned. So then she just, God bless Reba, is like, if this is a dick and these are balls, then you can do this thing where you grab the space in between the balls and you just push up in your finger, is which was described to me. I felt like I need her to like show me in real time. Like I don't understand, honey, because even the grip of the cucumbers, like you would not be holding a dick from that way, that angle. My elbow would just be in someone's stomach. I mean, we're talking about I can't. How would you? And so you have to like grab the dick and then kind of like maybe like you would. It looked like the finger that you would use if the dick was a gun. Instead of going in, you kind of somehow make it go up and just like get it in there like a spot in your back, just like right.
Yeah, with the knuckle. You're right. I'm gonna have to see about that. I'm just gonna see about that.
Better.
Should there
you better send me. You better do some research. You better get back to me.
I'll let you know how it is. Okay, and then Ed is like, there's another. We go back to Ed again. He's quiet at this point because Liz has already, underneath her breath, been like, "Wow, I wish a guy could last long." And he's like, "Well, then sleep with somebody else then." And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I will."
I have.
Yeah, I have. I will. I can. I can do whatever I want. The same way you get people in your DMs, I get people in my DMs. So they then have homework, and the homework is for some of them to masturbate separately. Some of, and Suelu gives us more information about the fufu, which is masturbating, and it's also bad luck. And Kalani was like, you remember when we used to do homework videos? Because they're in front of the kids, so they have to say sex and things like that. And so apparently they had a really good or really interesting sex life. And for him to have, like, this is why she's so pissed. Like, if you could be as comfortable with your partner to put things on camera, and then they fucking just go and get thrushed by eating somebody else, allegedly, like, how the fuck would you feel? Like, oh, okay. Oh, we're just out here doing whatever we want to do now. Okay. Um,
Remember when,
apparently,
yeah, he was like, our sex life's a 10. She's like, I decline. I decline the
yes.
answer.
She's like, I don't think it's important. It's right to talk about your sex life in front of people, but it's really because it's terrible. Yara says the sex is 8, and Jovi says the sex is like 6, and she's like, well, whatever. But the thing is, though, I need romance at this point, and he's like, I don't feel like I should have to butter you up every time I want to have sex. And I was like, this is your wife who has had your child.
Mm-hmm.
If she requires some cuddling and shit before sex, you should give her that.
Yeah, it's also like, it's so interesting. Like, you don't want to just like get up in there and like smell her neck at first and give her like some sort of hickey or like whatever you do, suck on it, like suck on her, or like suck her earlobe and just like, even, I don't know, it's so funny. It's like breathing next to someone, like lightly kissing. Foreplay, I don't know, it's so interesting when people like don't like, when people say they don't like foreplay. I'm like, why? You don't like it to feel better and like be hot? It's so hot. Like, I don't get it. I don't know. You just like, listen, they're married, they have a kid. It's just like, I get it, but if you're gonna want to have sex, why not make it? Why not? Why would you not want it to be better? But they have to like get it in when they can. I guess I feel bad for Yara, absolutely. Like throughout that, I mean, the conversation also about spit and whether spit is a lubricant was disgusting. Now, men have, of course, spit on dicks around me. I don't say, I should have say of course, but definitely men. I've had men that try to use spit as a lubricant.
I have never known that it was wrong, that you could get bacteria down there. I never knew that, and so it was very eye-opening for me to know that you should just use lubricant.
Yeah, I mean, it's also telling because if, the question denotes an absence of, and the absence of denotes a lack of uh turned onness by the
Well,
woman,
I mean,
unless
you
she's
might,
past a certain time, and in
yeah,
which case,
I'm
yeah, but
past, I think I'm past a certain time.
oh, I'm not.
It's
Oof.
it's not always that way. It takes like hours of different things to happen for me to be like, unless it's like it's the first, second, third day after my period. First, second, third day after my period, she's ovulating, her body's ready to go. But after that, it requires some kind of help. Now, the fact is that what happens when a guy goes down on you? That's still putting said spit in that area.
I
So
know.
it's like all wrong. So if you let a guy go down on you, I feel like, and then he wants to spit to use his lubricant, it's the same shit. So
Have you ever just went out? Have you ever? I
have
forgot.
you ever
Have you
loved
had anyone
someone?
go down on you using like whatever plastic or like, is it a dental dam? Not a dental dam, like
Oh no,
what
no,
are
never had
like,
that.
okay, and neither have I. Can you, I mean, but I've also never given head to a condom dick, so
Yeah,
I'll,
I was also thinking of getting what is that thing that they used to use in the 80s? A sponge or like a cup or something? Like women used to get something fitted to your uterus and then you would put it in before you had sex and it would stop the sperm from going in. They talk
mm-hmm.
about it in
The sponge, and yeah, like
yeah, maybe it's the sponge. They talk about it in
in
Look Who's
Seinfeld.
Talking one.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So all very interesting. They all have homework. They go do their homework. But then we have Angela and Michael who have a private session because their situation is different. I really think it was because Michael was asleep. Like he can't be up 24/7 trying to keep up with what's happening in Florida, right? So I feel like they waited until a couple hours later he was awake and then he gets this Bluetooth vibrator and I actually kind of love it for them.
And low key you.
Yeah, me.
Okay.
Mm.
And so yeah, it was like, and me, yeah. So not for us, but like personally, me, like it's a great thing. So Yeah, it was interesting. We get a classic Angela laughing hard, and like he's super Christian in his way of Christianity. They don't want to like spill their seed, but Reba's there to like solve some things. Reba laughs so heartily alongside Angela that sometimes I'm like, Reba, is this you angling for a spot on the show, or is this you like not trying to get killed by Angela? Because it's like every time someone kisses Angela's ass too much, I'm like, you're a medical professional. I don't know, but basically, as Wa said, it's a Bluetooth device that she can insert. It has it looks two prongs. So one's like inside the thing and one's to the outside. And he could get something that would go around him and then she would have access to that. And so they go back to the room and she like sets up her cam. And then we have horrible shots of her in this bed, honey. I'll tell you this, what we hear is, listen, all we see is just her wrapped up in the blanket, full back to him. So he sees, I mean, unless you're going to tell me that the way the comforter was that we saw her covered, but that her entire back was, it's like he's there watching her, supposedly making her come, but what she's giving him is just a person wrapped in a blanket screaming.
Well, I mean, he hadn't assumed the position, so I think it's fine. He's just watching her have her pleasure, right? It's cute. So, I mean, Jovi and Yara, he apologizes for getting upset, and then they're supposed to cuddle without having sex, but he has a hard time doing it. And she comes to bed in a black robe, which he finds very alluring. And so they get into the bed, they kind of cuddle, and then he immediately jumps on her, and she giggles, and I'm happy for them. It feels like they're having a little bit of a honeymoon, except for the other day. So last scene we have is something stupid between Molly and Kelly, but the truth is, Chris, who cares? They are not together currently to this day. It's too much. Like they don't even like each other. She hates him. It's very clear. They don't like each other, and you're on mute in case you wanted to say something. So it's like, to me,
Yes.
it's really hard to watch them because I know they're not together. I know they don't love or respect each other. It's going to be over. So like, why am I investing in their drama?
You're not wrong. I get it. Yeah, like during the sex thing, they were like, Kelly, are you, attracted to Molly? And he's like, yes. And they're like, Molly, are you attracted to Kelly? And she's like, not anymore. And her whole thing is that, when she met him, he was a tough cop in Brooklyn and had a job. And then, obviously they or whatever dating and he moves, to be with her. And then he contends that he gave up his whole life. And then how happy she should be that he gave up his life is now doing that. But then she said, yeah. And then you moved here and basically did nothing. And so in this conversation, they have a conversation with one of the other therapists. And, Molly's like saying that he was, not motivated, that he doesn't do much, and he calls her a liar. And I want to say, like, I somehow sometimes believe Molly over her because he just gets upset when she says that, but he can't he can't say anything back to her. And I wonder why, like, why did he not like get another job, or like what was his plan? Did he have a plan?
I think that he went there and then he probably got super homesick, right? It happened to me when I moved to New York City, when you're used to something and then you move somewhere. But on top of that, she was expecting him to literally jump up and help her do things, take things off of her plate. He felt his masculinity couldn't handle that. He was not interested in being there, being her little like go to and do whatever boy.
Yeah.
And so that is the issue, is that she thought he was going to come there, quit his job, move there and help her with her life. And he's like, no, I already gave up and done everything I'm going to do for you. So you just need to accept me as it is. And I think that when she was like, what are you doing today? And he's like, nothing. And then he got defensive when she was like trying to figure out like why he wasn't moving on with his life when he was probably in some low grade depression. Like I think it's a lot of him not having any like emotional maturity and not being able to explain himself, because he starts crying and he doesn't even say like what it is. He could at least say like, Molly, I got there and literally a month later, after I was going through a depression, you tried to make me feel like it was my job to take care of your kids. Now that's another thing. I'm somebody who personally feels like I have to earn my keep, or I have to earn anything that I do. Because growing up, my dad would always say, like, when I would ask for something, it's like, do you deserve it? And I would be like, you know what? No, I don't. Or sometimes I'd be like, hell yeah, I do. right? So I still do that to myself now. Is like when I want something, I'm like, do I deserve it? Have I done things within the last couple of months or weeks to show that I'm like actively participating in whatever is happening around me? Do I deserve this thing? And I think what happened is Molly was like, you don't deserve it. You haven't done anything. And he's like, I moved here. And she's
Mhm.
like, not enough. You still live in the United States. You can still go and get a job. So he's to
Mhm.
me, he's emotionally immature, and she is, I think, had it. I feel like we're getting a different Molly than the Luis Molly. The Luis Molly would have accepted this.
Yeah, I agree for much longer. I mean, she probably yeah, for yeah, absolutely. Um he cries, he gets emotionally teared up and the therapist is like, "Hey Molly, like look at your man like crying from his love for you." And Molly's like,
Well, he should have went out and got a job then
"Yeah.
if he wanted to show
Well,
me that he loved me.
yeah, yeah, yeah." He just yeah, Kelly just calls her like is upset because he feels like Molly is lying and or
Mm-hmm.
portraying him as something that he's not, which is obviously like a somewhat of a freeloading, lazy person, which is why it's so interesting. It's like, yeah, again, I'll just say like, why is your defense just calling her a liar? Why is your defense not the reasons in which you're not? Like
Yeah, I think it's just because he feels like he made choices and that she made choice. Like he just didn't want to be her errand boy, and it just, instead of him like figuring out what he needed to do so that he didn't have to be her errand boy, I think he just wanted her to be okay with whatever he was doing. And she was like, I'm not taking care of no grown ass man, or no grown ass man is going to sit on my couch when I'm having issues with my daughters. You're going to help me or you're going to get out. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and but yeah, I'm happy that they showed this. It's so funny, like we didn't talk about this, but like it's very funny that there's this conversation with Jovi and Yara where Jovi's like, I don't think you should put my private business out there. And it's like, bitch, you are on a show. Like, like he's just so ugh, I don't know. But I was happy that they also had the conversation where like he's like, I think that you're, like you're being shady, because you lied about the birth control. She's like, I've always been honest. Like I told you I don't want to have kids and I want to move to Europe, and he's like, you so it's just as back and forth with them too, like, but still I'm a little bit like I think they know that they're the strongest couple, so I don't sometimes don't know if what drama is real because I sometimes feel like they need to think that they're going to give us something because everyone else is literally falling apart in trash.
I think his alcoholism is real, and I think his
True.
not taking her seriously with the kids thing, because he doesn't realize how much it affected her. And she's like, I'm gonna wait till my kid is 4, and he's like, well, still give me a timeline. And I don't remember how old he is, but I mean the rudeness about being
31 or
40,
32 and she's
the
27.
the rudeness about being 40, like, oh, I don't want to have kids when I'm 40. Okay, everybody just chill the fuck out. Some of us, you know, like, and so for him to be so insistent on it when it's not his body that has to go through such of like traumatic, situation, I just think that she's right and he's wrong, and that's the
Oh
end of
yeah,
that.
about
um
everything for the rest of the time.
Forever
Literally, yeah, that's you can.
diversifying the portfolio by buying a home in Europe, like he's wrong with all of it. So that's all I have to say about this episode.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next episode when the boys decide to take Asuelo to a strip club. All right. One other small facet thing is this show killing it in the ratings. Last Resort killing it in the ratings, beating Toe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know
All right.
that. I mean, I miss Holly and Wayne, so the truth is I can't wait to see them.
Mhm.
Um all right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.